Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Dr. Said Says, or Said Talks, if you will. I'm Dr. Cedric Wood, and I have some thoughts about politics again. I'm not doing too many of these having to do with my epistemology, but today I'm going to be talking about these ICE raids. It just kind of boggles my mind. I'm sure a lot of people in America feel just as I do. They're in the middle. So why isn't there ever anybody interviewed on TV who's in the middle with a balanced view? I don't get it. Why is it that we only get the right on Fox News about how logical and good that is to go and do these raids and get these illegal immigrants captured and sent back to their home or put in jail? Or on CNN, we get how horrible that is and abusive and disrespectful that is. The reality so often is in the middle. When I see couples, this person says this person says no, it's this way. And I very often say the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. So let's see if I can do this real quickly. I would love it if somebody would interview me, put me on their podcast, and let me explain this. But here we go. So let's start on the left. People need self-actualization. They want to have the best life possible. Of course. I hope we all agree with that. And so people are looking at America from a great distance from their country, and mostly a little bit from Europe, where countries are high functioning, but mostly from countries that are not high functioning. They will say there's too much crime and gang activity and corruption. It's too dangerous. I had one young man who was from a country, I'll say south of the border, and he went home to visit. And when he came back, the next time he saw me in this office, he says, I don't think I'm going back. It's too dangerous there. Wow. And he is originally a native of that country. No wonder people are clamoring to get to America. It's cleaner. It's safer. The streets are clean and well put together most of the time. And, the government is not corrupt most of the time. And so, of course, people are clamoring to get here. Of course. And so there's a validation that's due to every single immigrant, legal or illegal, of wanting to come here. Of course, you're wanting to do that. In fact, Daniel Weil, Dr. Dan Weil, you might say, taught me the of course technique. There it is. Get it up high. Validate what people are thinking and feeling. That's what the Republicans should be doing. We get it. We're very flattered and honored that you would want to come and live in our country, because in a way you're saying, hey, this country is a heck of a lot better than mine. Thank you for that compliment. But you don't hear that. And on the other side, we have so many stories of crime, drug use, drug pushing, deaths from drugs. Mostly you trace it back to the kingpin, and they are Mexican or South American. And so that really puts a bad taste in our mouth. And I've never heard a person of Hispanic origin say, we get it. We get why you're upset about so many of my countrymen coming here, because so often there are crimes that are committed. There are gangs that are formed. It's terrible that the quarterbacks of the NFL, how many were there? 5, 6, 7 that went back home after the game and they were burglarized. Well, they finally found the gang showing these things that they had stolen from their houses. They were Hispanic. They were Mexican. I'm not saying that. And so that puts a bad taste in Americans' mouths, as you say, and so Can they own that? Sorry. And so, of course, people on the right are saying, send them home. President Biden said, send them over here. Come on over. You're welcome over here. That was wrong. That was ineffective and inefficient and not well thought out. And so if President Trump is overreacting, what he's overreacting to is President Biden's overreaction. He should have been maintaining those laws. President Obama did a good job of trying to keep the borders closed and monitoring that situation so it didn't get out of hand. Good for him. And so President Trump's having to go overboard. So I guess we can agree, those of us in the middle and left can agree he's going overboard with these sending troops in. I'm kind of reminded of the brown shirts walking around the cities in Germany before World War II. And of course, President Trump should recognize that's what it smells like, and he should be apologizing. I said this in a previous recording. I'm not going to let it get that far, of course. I can understand why you might be throwing out words like dictator or a king. I get it, because I'm kind of being very egomaniacal, maybe even in some ways megalomaniacal. And he should be saying, I'm sorry. I have my advisors, and they're keeping tabs, and they're telling me when and where to tone it down. It said today in the news that after talking to the mayor of a city here, they decided not to send in troops. I wish I could remember which one. But that sounded like they had an adult conversation. We will crack down on crime harder than ever if you won't send in troops. And President Trump said, okay, that's why I'm sending them in, because we're tired of hearing the stories of gangs and other criminal types killing somebody or breaking into houses and stealing things. We're just sick of it. And, but I'm going to pause for a moment. Every time we hear that and we want to point the finger at somebody, we have to point the finger right back at ourselves, because every single adult in America has not done what we should have done, and that is get a class in every high school in America passed that clearly goes into mental health, a sense of well-being, and beyond that, healthy personality development, healthy relationships, healthy parenting, and in the end, healthy lifestyles, which means don't become a criminal and a thief and a rapist. Don't do that. It should be in a class in every high school, and every high school boy for sure, but certainly the girls ought to go, where they would learn how to be a good person. Spike Lee's movie was Do the Right Thing, and we should all be learning that. And so I understand the pushback to the 10 Commandments in every school. I get that. It's kind of like, mixing church and state. But I would like to ask the people that don't want that there, are you saying it's okay? Because, one of the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not kill. So are you saying it's okay to kill? We don't want to teach kids not to kill because it's okay. Thou shalt not steal. Are you trying to say that it's okay for people to break into people's houses and steal things? Well, of course not. But the question is, how would you like to present to every classroom, don't do these things? If it's not the 10 Commandments, what is it? I bet we can come up with something, because the young people are not being taught how to behave. And so if somebody behaves terribly, like Tyler Robinson shooting a young man in the neck, a young man is very loved and well thought of, in public, horrifying. And so what we all have to own, maybe the adults in that part of the country have to own, did you get a law passed in your state, the state that he grew up in, that had a class, mandated a class in every high school teaching mental health and well-being and appropriate behavior? No, you didn't. So it's partly your fault. Can you own that? I do. The state of Texas. I've been fighting for 25 years for a class in every high school, and I have failed. So every time there's a stabbing or a school shooting or a ICE van shooting where the young man killed 2 immigrants and then killed himself, that's partly on my shoulders because I did not make sure 25 years ago when he was in high school that he had a class. And shame on the Texas legislature. Every senator, every representative, shame on you for not backing. I've gone to Austin and I've talked to you about initiating that. And every one of you, your staff was so nice and listened so well. I give you thumbs up. But did your staff tell you Dr. Wood really made a convincing argument? We need to propose this. Let's shoot for the spring of 27. But we need to start working on it right now. Right now. We all need to reach out to our senators and our representatives and say, yes, a class in every high school. They had something like that. I believe it was in Colorado. They passed in 2023. But then this year, they banned it because it didn't have a part that said you have to check with the parents. I'm really getting off topic here. Before you give them a test or talk to them about their mental health. Okay, I'll address that later. That's a problem. But back to the idea of all these young people from other countries that are coming here and committing crimes. Now, what the Republicans should be saying is if you come here, preferably legally, but even if you come here illegally, but you bring a family or you start making a family and you work hard every day, I've had 2 or 3 of these people in my office. They're hard workers. They're law-abiding citizens. And so the Republicans should be saying, we're okay with you. We're going to treat you nice. We're going to allow you to stay because you've shown yourself to be a good person. They should be saying that. And that would help the people on the left, the liberals, to go, well, okay, that sounds good. But the Republicans refuse to say it. And the people on the left refuse to say, well, certainly if there's a criminal over here, those ICE agents round them up and you ship them out of the country. We agree with that. And then we go to step 2. That's step 1. Step 2 is, however, we feel like that you're really treating a lot of pretty good people and innocent people pretty badly. Where is that balanced conversation? And so I am going to try to create that right here on my podcast. I'm going to try to get people to come and debate that right here on my podcast. If anybody knows 2 people on the left and right that would be willing to show up in my office and debate that, send them over. I've got room right here. Look at this wonderful, comfortable chair. And I can put another chair right over here. And I can be in the middle and I can mediate this conversation between the left and the right. Let's grow up and be adults. You've got the ego state right there. There's 3 adults right there in the middle. And of course, it's based on the transactional analysis, adult right there. Why can't we get into our adults and have mature, calm, productive conversations? Help me out, won't you? 214-394-4040. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this was thought-provoking. I'm not sure it will actually help until we start getting the legislators involved. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think on the comments below. You take care and have a good weekend. Bye for now.